I'd like to introduce and welcome up our sermoner for the day. Little known fact, I don't know if you guys know Pastor Manoj very well, but he actually has, his parents are each one of 8 kids. And he said every year on January 26th they have a family reunion. Usually I think family reunion maybe 50 people, maybe even 100 if you had a big family. He said minimum 300 people at this annual family reunion. This includes like extended family and things like that. And but I asked him what his hobby was, and he said, well, back in India, my hobby was visiting relatives. And think about that. It's actually that's really cool. That's what our reading this morning is all about. It's about family, and he's got 35 cousins. He couldn't keep count exactly, but somewhere around there. So please welcome Pastor Manoj.
Actually, he asked me what I'm not really doing which I love to do before, and then something I was thinking, what is I'm not really doing now? Then I remember I have 2 relatives here nearby, not so far in Nanuet, and we used to they are both my first cousins. We used to meet. It was we used to live very close to each other. Maybe used to meet almost every other day. But now, even though it's only 20 minutes away, I didn't meet them at least in this last 7 or 8 months. And so sometimes I feel missing. And then I remember when he asked about that, what is one thing you didn't do recently, which I really love. That was visiting my cousins, my uncle's home, and all relatives. And this meeting he mentioned, that was not just within our immediate family, it's our whole clan. We are trying to, for I think last 10 years, we started this meeting. Every January 26th, we have this family meeting. We are trying to get everyone come together. So some of them we never even met them before. So it's a great time. And I used to attend these meetings every January 26th until I moved far away from my hometown. Anyway, thanks for reminding me that. Kester brought it up. Okay. Just one question. How many of you watched yesterday this ABC Newsline Nightline thing?
I heard that.
What's that? Oh, not so many. How do you feel? How was it?
Fantastic. Short.
So? I felt very good. Because like when we usually look into our the documentaries about our church, it's mostly 90% negative, then somewhere they put a little bit about positive things. And I felt this time it was totally opposite. Maybe 10% negative things, then 90% really, really positive things. And I felt our Glenn and Judeline were the lead characters of the program. So I was so happy to see that. And especially this, our blessing, that is the core of our movement, the core of our theology. Then somehow they pick up that thing. Actually, that is what everyone knows. And I remember when I was doing VIP witnessing in India, even though they don't know who Reverend Moon is, they know about these mass weddings we do. So when we talk about Unification Church or UPF or everything, they ask, oh, are you the ones doing this mass weddings? What is your founder's name? Something like that. So I feel our kind of faces, the image people have about us is mass weddings, which is our blessings. And I feel that is what God given that mission to true parents. And so in a sense, it's really, really good that this ABC News pick up that issue and really made a wonderful documentary about that. And let us really give a big hand to all of our youngsters and also our members here. And when I was, anyway, with the reading you understood one what I'm talking about today, about blessing. And it was good that I saw this program yesterday. And also as I was preparing about the sermon, I remember somebody told me many years before. One of my friends who was studying for philosophy, he told me about marriage. Everyone have to get married, especially targeting for men. All men have to get married. If you get a good wife, you will be happy. And if you somehow if you don't get a good wife, you will become a philosopher. And maybe I don't know why we don't have so many philosophers. I think it works the opposite way also. Maybe if we have many women philosophers, think about how is our men, husbands are, and if we have too many men as philosophers, see why is the reason. Think about that. Anyway, I thought it's a nice introduction. I don't know it is by who. I tried to find out, but I couldn't get exact the source of this one. Anyway, it's nice, and actually I read that in one time in Unification News, it talked about blessing means everything to us. Somebody was interviewing and talking about blessing, and they said the blessing means, one of our members said, blessing means everything to us. The Messiah comes to give us blessing, which blessing to give blessing to everyone who is ready to receive, and that is the purpose of the Messiah. It was a essay about the open blessing in this article came in Unification News, and I find it as one of the very short summary about the whole our churches, the whole thing about our church. And as we see in this our scriptural reading of today's reading passage, we can see that why do we get married? Why we are so much focused about marriage? What is the reason? Whatever we do is all about marriage. As soon as our children born, then we think about, okay, after some time we have to get them blessed. We have to get them marked and blessed and let them start their marital life. Why do we do that? And even when we join the church also, we always talk about getting ready to receive matching and blessing, isn't it? That's what when I joined the church, people all talk about that. Oh, this is what we are doing. Nothing else. Of course, there were many other things. But when we ask to a person that time, nowadays also it is almost same, but it was all about we do this blessing ceremonies, matching and blessing them, leading someone to a life. That is the real essence of our church, and that's because through this union we are representing God. And from the very beginning of divine principle, actually from Bible also, we say that human beings were created in the image of God as man and woman. Then God blessed them to come together and become the full image of God. And that is the core of our theology. And that's what Father Moon wanted to really bless that join together and togetherness. Father wants to bless them and come together centered on God, so that they can really fully resemble God. When God created human being, it is like a image. The female is the feminine aspect of God, and man is the masculine aspect of God. And only by joining together, they can really become the full embodiment of God. And also, if only when we do that, only when we completely come together, then only others can see God, others can feel God. And also you can see how do our children see God? And through parents. When parents come together, centered on true love, then children can see God. Children can experience God. Otherwise, there is no way children can experience God in their life. Today, last night while I was watching that ABC Nightline program, it was the whole program about even before marching also they talk about them somehow. One couple from Pennsylvania, they asked, do you love each other? Are you in love? Then girl said, well, I don't know. It was immediately after marching. And then, anyway, they were showing that process. Then after some time, but I could see, they don't worry about what they are in that right there. They are committed. Even though they are not like the popular terms like, oh, I fall in love to that person. They are not yet there, but they are committed to that lifelong journey. As we today, in the offering song, they sang, it is like eternally they are going. They are totally committed. And only one thing, it was said in that video, which was the real marching process. While that this ABC news team, they even went to Korea and everywhere when only that marching process they could not witness. They were not allowed to go in. And instead of showing that marching process, they show Mr. Owen's marching process. And I think one time we saw while he was giving the sermon, he showed us that video. A tiny clip of that yesterday they showed us. And that was like, he's just coming to Father and just bowing and going back. I think only people who have watched that video before could understand it is them. But anyway, I thought it's kind of really interesting. They're totally copying, somehow doing everything. And in that video, that also reminded me a lot that commitment of the relationship even before they start the real life, the real marital life. That's what actually making the real marital life, the real success in marital life. Here, many times we think, who is the marital life is sometimes when we see that diagram in divine principle, God, subject, object, then result come as children. And sometimes recently in UTS, in one of my class, there was a big discussion, not even discussion, it was an argument. One Christian pastor, somehow my teacher, Dr. David, brought up an issue, which is in Bible, there is a saying that a woman, you have to submit yourself to your husband. And somehow Dr. David brought up that and asked everyone, what do you think about this? One priest said, yeah, that's right. And that's what we have to follow. That's why all men are priests in our church. No women are allowed to be priests in my church. And I forget what was his, which denomination he is from. But immediately after that, some of our members who are women's faith leaders in New York, they said, no, that's not right. That's not the way. They said, men and women are equal. They are supposed to be working together. Then somehow they were talking, they mentioned that men mistreat people based on this Bible verse. That's not right. And then this pastor said, no, that's not true. Women also mistreat men. We men mistreated a lot by men. But because we don't want to say that, because we want to keep it as a secret, we don't talk about that. Then anyway, I asked him, oh, do you get mistreated every week? Do you get beaten up every day? Then he said, no, not in my home. Anyway, it was kind of really funny. And believe like this in marital relationship, sometimes we talk about subject and object, and where subject and object is actually equal. It is not really, it is who is up and who is low. This is one relationship God given us to experience the real equalness. You don't have to be same in order to be equal. And that is the uniqueness of this relationship. That is what, when you see, when we read and study divine principle, we say children born and then they are going through different phases, and then they reach adult, teenagers. Then when they see each other as adults and as a husband and wife, they are already expected to be treated equally. And that is a prerequisite, or that is a condition we have to have in order to create good marriages. If we worry about I'm above her or I'm above him, we can't really make a good union. Here, many times I believe the real subject of our marital relationship is God. And the real subject only when God becomes our subject of our marital relationship. And same time, in this scriptural, today's scripture passage, you saw that what is God? God, we became God when actual husband and wife joined together. When brother and sister joined together as husband and wife, they became God. They are actually manifesting, they are really becoming that God's manifestation in this earth. And that union is the real subject of our marital relationship, not an individual person. The togetherness of a man and woman, that is the subject. And when we give priority to that togetherness, every marriage can become wonderful marriage. Then we really able to resemble God in front of our children, in front of all world, and then God can really feel joy from that. And that is the way we have to propagate marriage culture. And many times I feel the biggest threat we have is like people don't understand what is the real essence of marriage and why do we need to have marriage. And that's why Father today in that passage, Father very clearly said that the purpose of marriage is for men and women to come together and resemble God. Through that, we are able to establish heavenly kingdom. Once you pass that phase, you can really in heavenly kingdom. That's what the end of that passage says. Without that, we cannot. And of course, we talk about this ideal. When we say about this ideal, does that mean this relationship is very easy? And I'm sure all of you remember the time you get matched, or you get blessed, or you started your families. And how many of you, I think almost everyone here blessed, and some we have many young members also, but they are also on the way towards that life, and it's this young age is a preparation for that. And think about that time, there's the ones who are married and matched and blessed. Think about the time you got married and you were about to start your marital life. How was that? How was your feelings about that? Maybe some of us maybe didn't think about deeply. Or how was that?
It was holy.
Holy. I know it is holy for you. Mr. Burns is someone I always admire about like making wonderful unity and togetherness, and his children also always testify that. That's kind of really amazing. And when we think about that time, we start our marriage. True parents brought us together.
Yes.
And sometimes, and yesterday's that ABC Nightlines program, they were so much kind of showing that we did not know each other and we are just starting a committed relationship. And at one point that the person, that anchor asked one person who just got marched in Korea and we're going to receive blessing, what is the name of your husband? And she couldn't say that. Well, I don't know. Then I think that girl was one second girl from probably from French-speaking Africa, and she could not even speak English. And husband is from Japan, and I think his name is some Yasuhiro or something like that. Little bit more complicated. And finally she was thinking that, oh, okay, this. Then the news reader said, oh, she really didn't know her husband's name. For them, it is so unique and so strange. But this is going to be a successful marriage. And at the end they say they have eternity to know each other. And that's what actually makes. They are committed to know each other for eternity. And even when I remember about our marching time, me and Rani was in one center, but we never talked each other before. Somehow she was from little bit another side of my own state, and she joined through another person. I was full-time church member, but Rani was, sometimes she comes and helps to join for the 7-day workshop and things like that, but never really talk each other. And one time we sent out our photographs, and then 2 days before or 1 day before or something, we received our marching result. Then our leader invited us, and then he asked me, are you okay? Then I said, anyway, I told you I'm okay, that's why I applied. Then anyway, he wanted my commitment. I said, okay. Then he asked both of us to go to a room and discuss about that. Then we went to the room, but we didn't discuss anything. We were just sitting in two sides. Then in India, sometimes there are many power outages. Then during that time, power gone, no light. AC suddenly stopped working. It was kind of almost 100-degree hot in New Delhi. I think in June. Yeah, June. It is kind of horribly hot there. Anyway, then only thing we discussed that, and we didn't discuss. We said, oh, power gone. That was the only thing. Then we came down, we said, okay, we are all good. And then after that also, we didn't know what to communicate. And we didn't start writing each other, and we did nothing. But somehow our leaders were pushing us to write letters to each other. We were learning really. And we are committed, no matter what. We were going to have this eternal life centered on God and true parents. And we had that higher goal, and still, I think it is not totally perfect. Sometimes we have rough times, and but those times when we come together, oh, what do we do? Okay, we have to talk. So, as soon as possible, we just resolve that misunderstanding or whatever we have, then we go on. And one of the main things with this marital relationship is that try to resolve the problems as soon as we have that. And once we are committed, there is a saying that I think it is from Bible. Never go to sleep without resolving your problem. I think one time Reverend Bobans mentioned about this. That's why I noticed. And never go to sleep without resolving your problem with your wife or your husband. And sometimes it may not happen, but try to do that as soon as possible. Then, because anyway we are committed to make this wonderful relationship. We are on this journey, And so we have to make it wonderful. Then only we can really go in that life. We can really resemble God. And also, sometimes there may be things we cannot resolve by ourselves. Then don't hesitate to seek help from other people. Sometimes we are kind of showing that, oh, I don't want to show this to anyone. I don't want to discuss with anyone. I don't want to go and talk about my problems with someone. It is, first of all, of course, we have to try by ourselves. We have to pray. We have to somehow with prayer and with by submitting to God, we have to try to solve by ourselves. If not, don't hesitate to go and seek for help. I know in our church we have wonderful counselors such as Mr. Williams and many people within our community, and they are just there to help us to make this wonderful relationship in order to resemble God, in order to create a real harmony in life, in order to create a real good families. And through this, I believe we can do that. And sometimes I sincerely believe that choosing the person to go for counseling also very important. And the counselor has to understand. That's why many times it is best we choose someone from our own community or someone who can understand how much we value our marriages, how much we value this life together. Then we can really hope for good results. And also, I feel in homes, in our marital relationship, sometimes our priority becomes something else. Even if it could be like our job, or sometimes computer games, or sometimes other kinds of our recreational things get more attention than our spouse, then things get worse. Then things start getting out of our control. So I think that's a good advice for our youngsters also. Never get too much into computer games and all other kind of things, and try to make a relationship with your friends. When you are young, the more you have relationship, the more you have friends, the more you have relationship with your friends, with your brothers and sisters, with your cousins, with your church friends, you will be able to make good families in the future. But if we are focused on playing computer games and everything, it will be a big problem in our future life. And many times, one of the major reason in marital problems are one of the spouse or both of the spouse are addicted to other kind of games and things like that. So really try to find time together. And quality time spending together is the essence of creating a better marriage. And without creating better marriage, we can never even hope for better community or better nation. And as I was, when I used to give, anyway now also I give divine principle lectures, and especially when we talk about marriage and family, I had a slide which is actually based on real study. It shows like the rise and fall of nations are based on the strength of the families of that country or the whole culture. If we don't have a good marriage culture, or if we don't have strong families, there is no hope for our church, no hope for our society, no hope for our nation. Then once the family declines, then everything starts declining, and everything go way beyond, where it will be out of our control. So this relationship, which is this based on husband and wife love, based on the mutual respect, is the key for the success towards everything. So in this week, I just want to remind all of us that the root of our church, the fundamental things our church is standing upon is the blessing, which is the marriage of marriage, and let us really value this time. And just like last night, we saw that wonderful video about the blessing culture of our church. That is one thing we can really be proud of. So let us be proud of that, and by making good families, we can become good ambassadors for God. We can really show what is the essence of God, so that our children also grow into that. Thank you so much.